Hello and welcome to Pilates Perspectives. This is Joy, and today we have Chrissy Ruby and Cassy Nemec on the anatomy and physiology of Pilates. But first, let's check in. For today's check-in, let's take some time to think about anatomy. Now, depending on your background, this could range from a very loaded term to a very sort of general nebulous idea. Regardless of where you're coming from today, I'd like for us to carve a little time and through the lens of anatomy, take stock. What has been your experience in learning anatomy? Do you have a formal course? Have you pursued an advanced certification? Or have you really learned through your experience or from the people in your life? Are there areas where that education may be lacking or needs updates? Or are there areas where maybe you would like to know a little more? How might you want to pursue that information? So that's on a more academic side. But what about personally? Let's turn inward. Despite all of us having similar structures, we're all individually different. Maybe you have an injury and it's shaped the way you may think about your body or really how your body moves or sits. Are you prone to certain muscle imbalances? Are you aware actually of your balances? Are you naturally stronger in certain places? Or do you feel like there are places where you might need some work? Now, depending on your background, your answers may range from to a very detailed assessment of your current fitness level, pain perception, and areas of need. Well, regardless of where you're coming from, the reality is if we just stop and pause and become a little aware, it actually goes a long way. You may not have the anatomical name for something, but you certainly know how you feel when you're doing something. But right now, in this moment, I invite you to take a second and think about where you're at, both in terms of your understanding of human anatomy in a general sense and how it applies to you with your individual body and your individual experiences. Now, if you want to go above and beyond, I'd recommend you carve out some time in the next few weeks and assess where you're at. How does your body move? How it may differ from the perception that came to your mind today. As always, I urge you to avoid putting labels of good or bad, but rather focus on the sensation of how you feel. As you may already know, feelings can be difficult or feel negative without being a bad thing. But every journey starts with the first step. And if your first step is coming from a place of awareness, then you set yourself up for success right from the very beginning. Okay, so thank you for taking that time with me. Your time is valuable, and I'm proud of you for using that time to move towards a stronger, more nuanced relationship with yourself. Today, we have Chrissy Ruby and Cassy Nemec, a mother and daughter powerhouse duo based in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. I used powerhouse because Chrissy is the founder and owner of PHI Pilates, formerly known as the Powerhouse Institute, and PHI Pilates Japan. Chrissy Ruby wears many hats as a physical therapist. She's also nationally certified Pilates instructor. She is a former professor of exercise science and sport studies at Penn West, California, and more. Chrissy comes to us with a wealth of knowledge and experience in both Pilates and the exercise science world. Also a physical therapist and NCPT certified, Cassy has a lifelong experience in the Pilates world. She literally grew up in a Pilates studio. A board-certified orthopedic clinical specialist, doctorate of physical therapy, and a current PhD student in health education, Cassy balances academics with practical skills. You can find Cassy and Chrissy on their entirely free app, PHI Connect, which is available on the App Store and Google Play Store, and has community options for both instructors and clients alike. Welcome to Pilates Perspectives. I'm here with Chrissy Romani Ruby and Cassy Ruby Nemec, and we are here today to discuss, sort of tongue-in-cheek, the anatomy and physiology of Pilates. Welcome to both of you.
Hi, thank you. We're so happy to be here.
So this is like a fantastic mother-daughter duo. We were just talking prior to going on air. Chrissy, how did you find Pilates? How did you end up here?
This girl is the reason.
Ah.
So we were teasing that actually yesterday was her birthday, and it kind of marks the time that I've spent with Pilates. I had a tough pregnancy with Cassy and gained a lot of weight and got pretty out of shape. And I had heard about this thing called Pilates, and being in Pittsburgh, it really wasn't there yet. So I went out and I found it, and I used it to get back in shape and fell in love with Pilates.
No, you were a physical therapist at the time.
I was a physical therapist, and I had been teaching fitness. I was at IDEA presenting, and I was doing step aerobics, slide, you name it, I had done it. And then I was also a weightlifter in college. So I did a lot of powerlifting and weightlifting and things like that. And so I was really in shape before I got pregnant, which is probably why I had so much trouble getting pregnant. And then when I got pregnant, I was fearful of miscarriages, and I had some. So I stopped doing everything for that entire pregnancy.
Wow. All right. And then Cassy, you were born, and I guess Pilates was already part of your family. So what's it like growing up with like Pilates in your memory from as far back as 3 years old?
So I would say that I first used the Pilates equipment more to play on. So my sister and I growing up,
I think it's fantastic playground equipment.
Yeah, we decorated the Cadillac for every holiday.
I love that.
And my mom was finding Scotch tape on the equipment just like this past year. We're like, oh, wow.
I love that.
So I would say I got more serious into it when I became a teenager, and I was more so forced to actually do it because I was a ballet dancer. So my mom would get a group of my friends to come up so I would actually listen to her. And because, teenagers don't want to listen to their mother.
No,
So
yes. They just want to roll their eyes. Yes.
I got a little bit more interested.
So you taught classes for her?
Yeah, I figured out that if I did a class for her entire ballet group, that she would participate. And it turned out great because she did participate and she learned. And actually, a couple of her friends that were in the groups teach for me now.
Oh, fantastic.
We created maybe 3 really good Pilates instructors.
You created generations now.
I didn't know what I was doing, but it worked out. Yeah.
So Cassy, you're also a physical therapist.
Yes.
Yes. And what interested you in, well, you said something interesting to me. You were a Pilates instructor first.
Before I was a physical therapist.
Before you were a physical therapist. Chrissy, you were a physical therapist.
Before I was a Pilates instructor.
Before you were a Pilates instructor. Those are it's just very interesting to come from those two different perspectives.
Absolutely.
How do you think it was different for coming from physical therapy into Pilates? And it was an interesting time. It was the late 90s, early 2000s.
It was before we could say the word.
Yeah, you couldn't say the
There
word Pilates.
was a lot of tension, a lot of difficulty finding a place to learn. And so for me, there was a little bit of difficulty with finding a place to train. And I think coming into it as a physical therapist, I sort of had this air to me that I knew it all kind of thing. A lot of times when you come out of a school, I had my master's in physical therapy and, I know exercise, and was quickly reinformed that I didn't know it all. And I could look at things at a different perspective where it wasn't so important to know what muscle was doing what, but how to communicate that muscle doing that thing.
Oh, interesting.
And not even the muscle, but to communicate the movement. And even now when I teach, I try to get back to that rather saying engage your deep abdominals. I'm talking about draw your skin away from your clothes. Trying to give it more of a visual layman kind of style. And I found that as a physical therapist, it changed me, that I cued better. I could communicate with my clients in a way that they understood. I could teach them how to stand. I could teach them how to breathe.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
things that were mentioned in physical therapy and taught to me in physical therapy school, but I wasn't taught how to communicate them to the client in a way that they could understand.
And then you went on to become a professor. Did you bring that into your teaching to physical therapy students?
So I actually, when I started at California University, I started in exercise science and physical therapy assistant, but they kept bringing me in and asking me to actually teach a Pilates like course. So I did get to teach an actual course, and I would say I did, especially with the physical therapy assistant students that I had, try to communicate to them that you have to be able to teach the client in front of you that sure you have all this great knowledge, but if you can't communicate it to your patient,
Right.
it's really not going to be successful.
So for you as a physical therapist, Pilates, one of the benefits of Pilates, it became a communication tool.
Yes, it brought it
Yeah.
to a level that I could bring it down to anyone. I could bring it down to the client who didn't know anything at all about their body, and they could get it,
Fantastic.
take it home.
They could take it home.
They could take it home.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Cassy. So now you grew up inside of a studio, playing around, jumping around on the equipment. At what point did you become a Pilates instructor?
So I started my trainings when I was just 16 years old. It took me a few years to complete all of them. And then throughout college, I taught a lot during college. And then in physical therapy school, where Pilates really helped me was that I already had this background knowledge of how to really teach and cue exercise really well. Actually, a lot of my clinical instructors, they wanted me to take on the part of teaching the exercises because they would just sit there at the edge of their seat like, oh, what is she going to teach next? Or what cue is she going to give me as an idea?
So you found
So-
the Pilates valuable even while you were in school.
Oh,
There
absolutely.
Was there an understanding that this movement education piece was I don't want to I'm trying to say something that I don't want to discredit any other form of learning, but that
Yes.
the movement education piece possibly is a missing piece for the physical
Yes,
therapist.
actually, now that you say that, I did have some friends in PT school that were biology majors. And while they really tutored me and helped me with more of the science classes, I actually tutored them and helped them with their confidence with teaching and getting in front of a patient and having the confidence to walk them through the exercises and sequencing and order, and more of those visual cues.
And now, does your practice combine Pilates and physical therapy?
Yes. Yeah. So I work full time now in the Pilates studio. So I'm working more with those that are working on their wellness. So they've already done their traditional physical therapy and now they're transitioning back into exercise. So a lot of the people, I'm getting them ready to join group class, and helping them build their confidence in order to.
And Chrissy, how about for you? Are you primarily, is it a 50-50 split between Pilates and physical therapy? Can you pull them apart anymore? How does that
It's
land
really
for
hard
you?
for me to separate them.
Yeah.
I will say that. And we are a cash-based practice, so we label our visits as specialized privates, and we charge more. But we will take people that have a PT script. We just don't bill insurance. So a lot of times they are coming in broken, but we keep them at very short periods of time. We're direct access. We keep them very short periods of time in a sense of a physical therapy visit. And then we bring them into like a wellness visit and try to step them down
Right.
for less expense and also to get them out of our schedule to be able to be with everyone. But I find like we both teach classes too. And as I'm teaching the class, I can't help myself. Like someone's doing something with their footwork and it's like, oh, I have to pull them aside at the end of class and say, now here's why that's doing that. And you really should correct it this way. And this is why. So I do have trouble separating the two things. And I think that my clients often get a physical therapy visit for free.
Yeah, it's sort of baked in, isn't it?
Nails on the chalkboard kind of thing.
Yeah, you really can't separate
But in
them.
defense of that, it sells because we actually take that moment to teach that person that. And then they're like, they want more. So like, oh, I'm going to schedule a private with you. I want you to teach me more about that.
Right.
So
right.
they sell each other.
It's like you said in the beginning, it was a language in a way. Pilates became a language, but the physical therapy also,
It's the
it
knowledge.
becomes an opportunity to educate.
Yeah. So they really go hand in hand so well. And they're so functional, both physical therapy and Pilates. It's almost like it should just be part of the physical therapy education in my mind. I really think
It's really a nice continuum of care. So many people after physical therapy are left, they don't know what to do in the gym, they don't know
That's
what
right.
to do at home. And to have that confidence of someone who knows what they're doing, watch them,
Right.
is so helpful.
I love that. I love that idea of it being part of the continuum of care. How, Cassie, how did getting your doctorate in physical therapy shape? Because you came in as a Pilates instructor, and then as you went and you got your degree. How did that shape your Pilates and your
Definitely,
Pilates teaching?
it definitely gave me more of thought behind the evidence behind what we're doing and the anatomical knowledge behind each exercise that I'm teaching. And maybe some better ways to describe that and convey that in my classes and my work with different clients. So I think that it really helped me with just every aspect of teaching Pilates. I mean, it really gave me more, I think in the teacher trainings was a big part of it for me, being able to teach Pilates teacher trainings and teach them the science behind it and a little bit of the anatomical background. While I'm not, doing a cadaver dissection, I can describe a little bit better.
Um, both something is sort of striking me, and it's a theme that has been coming through in many conversations, and that is seeing the client, but moving away from fixing and more into wellness, moving continuum of care. Where is there a line between the fixing and the continuum?
This is something that I think, as the owner of the clinic and one of the, a physical therapist who for years has been doing this wellness thing. In the physical therapy realm, like I'm in like the 1997, early 2000s talking about doing wellness, and other PTs are saying to me, well, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Right,
You can't
right,
put PT
right.
on your card if you're doing wellness. I'm like, well, why not? It was a very gray area, and it still is somewhat gray. So that's a really good question, and what a lot of PTs do.
And then on the Pilates side, you have scope of practice.
Exactly.
Right.
And so we fear it on both sides, is that I'm in this gray zone. But
Right.
I do have both. I have the Pilates certification and I have the degree in PT. And why can't I blend them? And there's a much more open mind in the, in the national organizations for physical therapy to this now. And actually I have other physical therapists in the private practice section coming to me, asking me, how do you do that? Like, I want to learn that. But there is that line, like, and you do need to think about that, when to take the client from the PT visit to the wellness. And I think I push the envelope and I do it soon, because I feel like the wellness actually helps fix the problem. Sort of like we were talking a little bit about how Joe Pilates would sort of ignore the problem,
Right.
and the person would get
You
better.
interviewed Ron, right?
Yeah, I interviewed Ron, and he told
Fletcher,
me, and I told him he told me about his knee, which was why he went to Joe in the beginning. He had hurt his knee, and he said that I went visit after visit, and he never even looked at my knee, and I was getting really mad about that. And finally, he said, I just kept going because I had nothing else. And my knee got better. And Joe never even looked at my knee.
Well, and Ramana, as a young dancer, has a similar story, right? She said something, believe it was her ankle. Joe really focused on the rest of her and moved her, and her ankle healed. And she was stronger and danced better as a result of everything else.
And as a PT, like you said, I was a PT first.
Yeah.
And then learned Pilates.
Yeah.
As a PT, I started to see this with my clients who, like, my husband and I had a physical therapy clinic together as I was learning Pilates. So I was able to just bring Pilates right into the clinic and do it as the therapeutic exercise. And then I'd bill TheraX. And as I did that more and more, and I just did Pilates exercises, I noticed that my clients were just getting better, that I didn't have to just do, oh, ankle TheraBand. Of course that might work, but I found that they just got better while I got the rest of their body.
And it's more fun.
Oh, they got
so the healing quality of movement, right? Which then again speaks to the marriage between the physical therapy and the movement education.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to see Pilates inside of PT schools?
Oh, I do, and I actually did it at a few PT schools at Slippery Rock University. They had a choice, and this is where Cassy did her undergrad, not her physical therapy, but I actually taught a course there that they could choose to take instead of taking neuro. It was Pilates, and it was a whole summer where we had bounce body equipment. And I don't think they're doing it anymore, but for years we did it. And I had several students that were physical therapists there that now do Pilates in their practices. And I think it's a great
I think
tool.
what we're really teaching people, I have a lot of people that come back and say this to me, is that we're teaching everyone that the whole system is connected, that it's not just shoulder versus elbow versus hip. It's that it all works together as a team. And I can't say how many clients I've come back and say that you really taught me that this all works together.
Right.
And that if you don't keep this part of you healthy, this part is not going to be what you want it to be.
And Chrissy, you were talking about at one point you lifted heavy weights. You had an injury, if I'm not mistaken, or injuries, and you've had to compensate over the years.
Yeah, so I was a power lifter in college, and I can't say that I had one specific injury at that time, but I definitely lifted more weights than this little body should. I was competing and I was bodybuilding and just doing the normal fitness thing of being in shape. And I think I beat my body pretty well. So it's probably been, I think maybe 6 years, about 6 years ago, I started to have this thigh pain, and I thought I pulled my quad. And even as a PT, my husband and I both, he's a PT too, we were both like, oh, I had this quad injury. And I was at a McKenzie course. I've been training in McKenzie. And the person that was doing the course needed a person that had pain. And I was like, oh, I have this pain. So long story short, he discovered that I actually had a back problem that was causing that referred pain in my leg. And I was like, so I learned that I needed extension in my back to take it away. He actually did it with me, and the leg pain went away. I could step up on a stool when I had weakness. I was just floored. And I learned about my back, that the symptoms I was having that were very mild, if I stayed in extension, did more extension in my workouts, did regular back extension, that I didn't have any of that pain. So, that's where this trusty lumbar roll comes in. And I've learned now that I have to direct my Pilates workouts in that direction. And it kind of goes with our whole program that we teach, this Your Back thing, where people choose what their body needs. And, you were asking a little bit earlier about how physical therapy how the Pilates and the physical therapy fit together. And I would say it just helps me choose which Pilates exercises.
Oh, I love that.
They're all great exercises.
Yeah.
But they're not for every body.
Like every time.
Every time. Yeah. So I think that helps us plan the sequence and the program. And then Cassy, in our studio, what we do is we help make that program, and then we put them with a teacher, and we help the Pilates instructor know what program.
Oh, so that's part of your wellness practice. You actually will take from rehab into wellness. You give them and you direct them and you guide them.
And our classes,
as well as teach them.
Yeah, our classes are set that way. So there are certain Your Back classes at our studio. They're Your Back extension.
And Your Back is your program that you created.
Why you are back. Yeah. And so that program, basically we have Your Back extension. We have Your Back stability. So, for example, if a client had osteoporosis, we know they need extension. Okay, these are the classes you're going to take.
Right.
And then they know they don't go to anything that they're not supposed to go to. They go to the ones they can go to, and it's less expensive. And the teacher that's teaching the class.
So they really are getting the best. They're getting like a rehabilitative eye, but they're getting a holistic body approach.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
So that's what I do with myself to keep my body happy.
Cassy, how about
I do
for
a
you?
full flexion, it's not working.
So I was a pretty serious ballet dancer when I was younger. And really, I think the Pilates kept me from getting injured. As much as I didn't want to admit it at that age, working with my mother. But I would see some of my friends.
Isn't it funny? You didn't want to admit it then, and now you're like, yeah, I
now
work with my mom.
Now I'm over here nodding along. Yeah. But some of my friends, I mean, they got some pretty nasty injuries, and it's nice to have something that is good rehab that doesn't beat your body up.
Yeah, do you remember the ballet camp that you went to? So she went to this ballet camp in New York and with a group of her friends, and they were young, maybe 13 or something, really young.
Couple
So
years.
my husband and I go up to visit, and she's like, Mom, when you get here, some of my friends are really having a lot of pain. Could you take a look at this person, that person? So my husband and I go in, and we're like triage.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
We're driving home, and we're like, we saw everyone but Cassy.
Actually,
She was like a rock.
Every Nutcracker, every year you were backstage. And
Oh,
all the
wow.
moms were like, oh, please come help my daughter.
Wow, and
Yeah.
you were pretty
And
solid.
she was fine.
I mean, I
Couldn't
had, a couple aches and pains here, but I always kind of knew what to do because
Yeah, I guess you did know what to do
Yeah.
with yourself, so that was part of it. But I just was like, wow, everyone was broken except for Cassy.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's great. And then you've pursued an orthopedic clinical specialist certificate?
Yes.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, so it's board certified orthopedic clinical specialty. So the APTA, American Physical
So
Therapy
it's as part
Association.
of your
Yes,
your,
it has continuing
physical therapy,
education
yeah.
and specialties. So really what those do is it makes you an expert on the research in that topic, that specific
great.
topic.
Are you involved in research?
So I am. I'm actually going back to school for my PhD right now.
Great.
So I'm very curious about that side of things. I want to get into more teaching. But what I really found with that specific certification is it made me stay up to date on the evidence and how to sort through all of the evidence. And then what is pretty cool is every time I read an article, I think right away, well, how can I do this on the Pilates equipment? That's what I always bring it back to. So, I mean, people probably think I'm just like this crazy lady all the time, but I am usually talking about a study or something that I saw every time I see someone.
And the studies, they're getting so much better and more expansive, and many are including Pilates
Yes.
now.
Yeah. And even when they don't, I try to tie it in and see where it fits.
I could be a student forever, so I'm very jealous.
Yes. That's exactly
It's
how
good
I
to learn
feel.
new things.
It's so fantastic.
I've been in school now for like
Most of your
9
life.
years, like
Yeah.
after regular school,
Yeah.
but I can't stop. I just love to learn.
Great. That's great. Chrissy, you did great.
All
right.
I'm very proud. I'm a proud mama for sure.
Today's episode is sponsored by Balance Body. Pilates is more than a workout. It's an ecosystem of equipment, education, and community. Balance Body helps bring it all together. We design and build innovative Pilates equipment for the needs of today's movers, and our training programs help teachers understand the why behind the quality movement and effective programming. As we celebrate 50 years of all things Pilates, Balance Body is your resource for equipment, education, and inspiration. Visit Pilates.com to learn more. Okay, so Chrissy, in the podcast Moving Conversations, you referenced something called meaningless movement.
We were laughing about
Yeah, we
meaningless
joke
movement.
about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so meaningless movement, I guess it comes even from my fitness days of, I used to teach for AFA, and we had these 5 questions that we always asked about every exercise. And I loved that part of their education. And it was really analyzing that exercise to see, what is its purpose?
Uh-huh.
And does it do that? And are there any risks, and who is it good for? And I've always had that mindset from that when I look at an exercise, something I'm going to do with my client, well, what's it do?
What's it do?
What's it do?
What's
And
the why?
like, does it apply to that client and will it help them? And so sometimes, our older studio, we had this little box in the middle that was glass, and it was kind of the office, and you'd sit in there and you'd look out, right? And I'd sit in there with my partner at the time, and we'd both look at each other and go, because we're watching a teacher out there teaching, and we're thinking,
what's the purpose?
what's the purpose? And we'd look at each other, and that's where the term meaningless movement came up, because it was a movement. Sure, it was burning calories, but it was
Sure it was burning calories.
But it really wasn't. It really had no purpose. Like,
She's been put on a quotation on a PowerPoint slide
this is bad.
with "stop meaningless movements."
Oh
in
my
quotation
goodness.
marks.
I love it. Yes.
But it really is
yeah.
powerful.
There's some energy expenditure there.
Yeah. But, it just doesn't seem like it's purposeful. And I've always been this person that, I don't have a lot of time. So I want to pack everything I can into the moment that I have for my workout, for everything. Like, everything I get done, it's got to be time efficient. So it's like, why am I wasting my time with this movement if it's not really doing something?
I think when you're working with someone painful as well, you really have to make use of your time. And each exercise has to have a specific goal. And it needs to not put them at risk as well.
Let me ask you a question on that. And I'm formulating this now in my brain. And again, want to make sure I'm treading lightly. Is there a risk of doing too much of that, of being too purposeful, taking away then the larger movement? Or is there a risk today in some of what we're seeing coming out being too meaningless?
So a meaningful movement is not necessarily a small or targeted movement. It's a movement that has purpose. So it could be a functional movement. Like, it's not necessarily, now we're going to do ankle TheraBand. Right? That doesn't make it meaningful. That makes it specific. So you have
it doesn't make it meaningful. Just say that again, because I think that
make it meaningful. It makes it specific.
Okay, there you go.
So meaningful would give it more purpose. Like, this person, their goal is to play pickleball. Right?
It's a big goal.
To play pickleball. So, I got to start at the beginning.
There's a lot of pickleball players out there.
I can't fly into rotation, but I have to have a purposeful movement that gets me to that end goal. And it's not just fluff.
And purposeful protocols that are going to get you there.
Functional.
And starting in a straight plane and then
so not performative necessarily.
Yeah, because you don't want to start crossing that plane right away.
Right.
So there's a lot to really consider. So that's if I'm targeting a client with pain, I think the meaningful movement has a whole nother dimension.
Right.
When I'm teaching a fitness class, like a wellness class to general population with no pain, meaningful is something where I'm working on typical problems that the general population would have. Like, these ladies are all in their 60s. They're going to have weak triceps, weak calves, weak glutes. So I'm going to think of movements that encourage that. They're going to have less fast twitch fibers. That's what makes it meaningful.
I find too that clients really love to know why they're doing something. They love to know, my arms are going to look a little bit better in this shirt. Or they like to know that, I'm going to be able to go on a long walk.
Right.
Because I'm now working on my leg strength and power.
Right. And I think conversely for Pilates instructors, having that information about how the body changes in their 60s, from nerve innervation to fat deposits and to hormones and how that affects structure, is not to fix that person, but to do, like you're saying, make your offerings meaningful.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And another thing I always say is that, like, adults don't do things because you tell them to. Like children do. Do this.
That's not always true. In a Pilates studio, they're like, you want me to do what? Okay.
Yeah.
Or occasionally you'll get a no.
You are always, like, you're a salesman. I tell the teachers that I train this, it's like, you are always selling. You have to sell this to the client, and not in a dishonest way, but you have to defend that. Well, here's why you want to do this. And then they're actually going to do it because they're adults, and so I think we're always kind of selling. And in my classes, I'm like, well, here's why we're doing, sometimes in Pilates, I'll take the footwork and go fast.
Yeah.
Like, let's just speed that up because you need fast twitch fibers. Now, I don't know if Joe ever did that, but I have that evidence in my mind from the PT side that, well, if they don't have any explosive power in their legs, they're not stepping up that curb.
That's right.
When they're 90.
Well, but that's a very interesting thing. Joe himself, I mean, a lot of what he created if you reference it by today's standards, it's actually, a lot of it's in the method.
Yes.
You know,
He was aging.
he was, and he changed,
Yes.
of course, over time. But for someone who didn't have the scientific background, a lot of what was created scientifically really holds muster today.
Oh, it does.
He experienced it in his own
In his
body.
own body.
In his own body,
His
and I think
conditions.
nature was his,
Yeah.
you know,
he
really was
watched.
his study. He watched people.
Sure.
But as students, as teachers, as having advanced degrees, uh, how like when you look at the work that Joseph Pilates created, like where do you think some of that comes from? Or how does somebody who doesn't have your background come to those conclusions?
Like where he found it?
Yeah, like I mean, let me see. He created a system that really echoes a lot of what we're finding in current research. How do you think something like that's even possible?
I'm amazed by it. Honestly, that's something that runs through my brain a lot. Like this man could see the future. Like
I really think the bodies that he had to work with, he worked with so many different age groups and types of people. And then also himself, he was doing it over the course of so many years. Like you mentioned, he was aging himself while he was doing this.
Well, that's one of the things I love are
Yeah.
the stories of him, those who had him in the earlier years versus those who had him in the later years.
Sure.
how he changed.
And how he changed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing that you say that because, you know, I'm often saying to instructors is like, you know, if Joe were here with us, he'd be changing right along with all the research and stuff. Like he'd be bringing this stuff in and he'd be adding it because he was that kind of guy.
Well,
Like, you could see it in his
Mhm.
work. How, like you said, people that had him at different times had different experiences.
Right. So, I mean, so then how do we keep up with advances in movement science without sort of getting overwhelmed, right? Or feeling like we've got to take everything and make it so meaningful? How do we, attach it to what we know and take it forward?
Slowly.
Mm.
So, you know, one thing that I often say to my students on
I love
the
that.
college level is that, you know, one study doesn't change the world.
It
It takes multiple studies of the same thing over time to make change. So just don't read one thing and change your world completely because you read one thing. Enter it into what you're doing and experiment with it and read more and slowly progress in that direction if it seems like the right direction.
I think going along with that, don't get stuck or hung up on the newest thing that comes out because in 5 years, every 5 years, you need to really stay up to date with everything because it's really changing.
Well, your
And-
practice has changed over the years?
Yes.
Your cues have changed over the years?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, when I
Yeah.
first started Pilates, everyone was in the same class doing all the same movements, right?
Yeah.
And now, like, we have all these different classes that if you walked by, you'd like, oh, that's a different class. That's a different class. You know,
Right.
It just changed.
Right. Yeah. So it's part of the evolution. But I love this idea of going slowly as someone who now is doing a lot of research. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
slow.
And in physical therapy school, they told us every 5 years we should really be just kind of reevaluating what we're doing and make sure you're checking and staying up to date on all of the evidence. But yeah, that being said, you're always going to have that outlier client or patient that maybe doesn't go right along with the study that you read.
Do you have any advice for physical therapists who are interested in adding Pilates to their clinical practice?
Sure. I really think that how it works nicely in our studio is it's really kind of that continuum of care. So after we have worked on that physical therapy issue that we were dealing with to transition them back into function, they can really work on their whole body and then you can watch them over time. So, I mean, having some sort of wellness, either that's something that you have in your own practice or knowing who to refer to. Like a lot of the physical therapies in our area actually refer to us, the physical therapy clinics. They send them over to us when they need to know, okay, this person still needs some more assistance.
Right.
We need to be confident that they're not just going to the gym on their own. So either having a place where you can trust that okay, they can go get some wellness, or maybe starting to incorporate that into your own business.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also worth repeating. So, for the physical therapist working in a clinic, one option is to find where you can encourage your client
Yeah,
into a
sure.
wellness
Yes,
practice.
and whether that's Pilates or
Uh-huh.
something else,
Uh-huh.
depending on what you think they need,
Right,
it's
right.
important to have that.
Or to add a wellness practice
Yeah, and as you
Yeah.
say
into the
that,
clinic.
yeah, my advice on that, like for a physical therapist who wants to add this to their practice, is kind of what I said about myself. I marched into Pilates training thinking I knew it all. And I had that rude awakening that I knew a lot, but I had a lot to learn too. And so I have a lot of physical therapists who'll come to me and ask me that, what do I do? How do I do it? And I usually will say, don't just buy a piece of equipment and start using it, because it won't have the same meaning as it has when you take the time to go take the training,
That's right.
step back and learn it in your own body and practice it yourself, and then study a little bit of that discipline before you just say, oh, I can put a reformer in my clinic and I can do it and it'll be the same, because it's not going to be worthless, but it's not going to be the same.
One thing you said last night to me is you said to keep an open mind. So I thought that is a really good piece of advice for physical therapists, maybe either trying to learn Pilates or learn about Pilates, to just keep an open mind with it, because you do see sometimes someone with some advanced background coming into Pilates training, trying to take all of their background knowledge and think about it so hard with each exercise, when it's just nice to just try it and absorb.
Be a layman.
Yeah.
And I found some things as I went in as a physical therapist, like this is probably a good example. I remember them teaching articulating bridge, and they're teaching me how, like giving me the cues for articulating bridge. And the Pilates person is saying, articulating bridge and extend as you peel up. And I'm thinking in my brain, I just couldn't focus. I'm like, that's not extension, that's flexion, because it was flexion of the lumbar spine.
Right.
But Joe Pilates, his English was not perfect. So he would say extend. What he meant was elongate, lengthen. It didn't come to me till later.
And it also
But, like,
doesn't matter.
he was talking
Yeah.
like extend and lengthen.
Yeah.
And I
As long
was
as
like,
they do it,
"That's
right?
As long as they do
flexion."
it, yes,
as long as they
And
do
I
the
was
right
like, the
motion.
physical
So
therapy
you,
police.
Yeah.
so you were well, but that was also a time. Those early days, there were some divides and there was some policing all around.
Yeah, and the language was different. You have
Yeah.
to recognize that you're now marching into a layman-based language for teaching movement, which is super useful.
Which
Right, it's super useful to the client.
Yes.
But in the PT world, we don't talk that way. Like, I shouldn't say the PT world, but in the physical therapy education, it's technical. It's
engage your glutes.
Yeah, it's very technical. It's very mechanical.
It's very
And as we step into Pilates, it's very
visual,
loose and communicative, and something that anyone could really understand. Conversational,
almost humanistic.
yes,
as opposed to mechanical in parts.
Yeah, and I find, unfortunately, that as we bring more of the mechanical side into Pilates to try to teach anatomy and things, that some of the Pilates instructors are coming out trying to teach in that mechanical way, and we're losing that. I don't want us to lose.
We're losing
that
the
side.
art. It's an art combined with the
Yes.
science.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very important point. And I think we touched on it when we talked a little bit about this concept of having this urge to fix, because the client will walk in and the first thing they'll say is, oh, my back hurts, or oh, the only time my back doesn't hurt is when I'm with you, right? It puts a lot of onus on the Pilates instructor to fix them and keep them fixed.
Yeah.
When actually some of that really has to do with the relationships and the movement and the meaning of the choices that you make, right?
Yeah.
And language is a big part of that.
Oh my.
You know, the language is a big part of that. So advice for a physical therapist looking at Pilates, find a resource for wellness. But if they wanted to do their own training, come with an open mind, take a training. Don't look at a piece of equipment and assume You are
plant that in your clinic and make it be that.
But now, what about a Pilates enthusiast or a Pilates practitioner? And they're looking to come to get be a source of a reference from a physical therapist. How should they approach?
So I think some of the trainings that are out there now, like in Pilates, could help them with that. Like, get a little knowledgeable on something you're interested in. Like, if like we do a lot of work with osteoporosis, and so we've studied up on osteoporosis, and we cater to that client, and then we let others in the area know that we know what we're doing with someone with osteoporosis. We won't fracture them. We know the exercise program they need, and then we go to those support groups and we help there, and then we get clients for that. So beef up on what you're interested in, whether it's reading on your own or taking some continuing education, and become a little bit specialized in some of the things that are coming out of the PT clinic.
Or maybe even getting in touch with practitioners in the area, medical professionals that are referring to you. What do you think some contraindications should be for certain things? Or what are some things I should avoid with this type of client? I know we do that a lot with any doctors that refer to us. We'll write a letter and be like, hey, how do you think we're doing? Like, what do you think? Should there be a new goal we focus on?
Oh, interesting.
So maybe just communicating with those referral sources.
Yeah, we do that a lot. And especially with the PT clinics that refer to us, we it's nothing for us to just ask them,
Sometimes they'll call. Yeah, we
call and talk to them, or the client will take the information back and forth. A couple of the doctors in the area will actually just write on the script kind of certain things that they want, but they know that they're in good hands.
Right.
They trust us because of past clients.
Right. So for a Pilates instructor to have the confidence to go to a doctor's office or to a physical therapist office and clinic and say, I'm a good referral resource for you. Yeah. You think finding some specialties and being, developing confidences and competencies
or relationships, even to, if something happens in your Pilates session, maybe someone's having pain or they're not progressing well, just to have that confidence to reach out. Hey, do you think, because most times, those physical therapists and those doctors really care about the person that they were working with. They want to see them do well.
Right.
So just to be able to have that confidence to say, hey, we were doing this kind of exercise. They may not know the exercise name, but, just to see what they think.
I think one of the great avenues for this, to be able to build your clinic this way as a Pilates instructor, is your client. So when you get a client that has issues and they are seeing a doctor at the same time, the best mouthpiece is that client going back and saying, oh, my back is feeling so
much better.
We had a client in particular that, was having back pain and did so well, went back to his doctor saying how well he was doing. And now the doctor herself is our client.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Fantastic.
And she's like, I have back pain. Yeah. And now they come together to a class.
Oh, I love several doctors in the area too that they form these relationships with us. Yeah. And they know what to write on the script, as she mentioned.
And it comes from other clients. So if you can get your client to kind of be your mouthpiece,
that's fantastic advice.
They sell you. Yeah. So, especially that client that does have a relationship with a physician, can tell them how well they're doing. And then it brings you more clients.
Chrissy, I met you before the turn of the century, I think, at the Physical Mind Institute.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, we had no idea Pilates would be where it is today.
No idea.
What is it that you hope for Cassie's generation?
I really like where it's going.
Tell me more.
I love how the medical side is joining in, and how we're seeing research that says, we're talking about back pain and it says Pilates is recommended in the research article.
Yeah.
So I'm loving that. And I hope it continues along that way. But I also really hope that we keep the language, like I talked about, that whole language idea, and we don't let it become the same as we don't want it to become physical therapy. Physical therapy has its place. We have our place. We're the in-between. We're like, get out of PT and get to life. And that's why I opened my studio. That's why I stopped being the traditional physical therapist, because I felt there was this void. And I guess we call it wellness, the void. But it's really that step down from, I'm done with PT. Now I really can't work out on my own because I don't know how. And I don't know what to avoid. I'm going to end up back in PT. And those home exercises, I can't do them by myself, right? I can't carry them over into life.
I'm so struck by what you said about meaningful, right? It's I don't know how, I don't know what has meaning for me.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can help them learn that. And then what I love about our studio is, I mean, I have clients, we've had our studio for 27 years or so.
That's
now.
fantastic.
So
company.
I have clients that have been coming the whole time. And
You want to talk about life, training through the life stages,
and
right?
I mean, they're maybe not
Fantastic.
directly with me, but they're coming to the studio in some way. So I'm watching them through every phase of their life.
Yeah.
And they keep coming back with different issues. Sometimes things I can help with, sometimes I refer them like, no, that's not with us, that's with. But I've become part of their family. Like, and you never really get to do that as a PT, because
You want to talk about a
weeks.
continuum of care.
Yeah,
That's it.
Like
yeah,
it's 6 weeks,
fantastic.
you give them a high five, and then you only see them again if they get really bad, and they might not get to you. Where here, they're in there and they come up and just conversationally say something. I'm like, okay, here's what we need to do about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So things have changed, and another generation is coming in. What is your hope right now for where things are going with Pilates and the concept of wellness?
I think I would go back to what we were saying about keeping an open mind, and that don't be so closed off and in one camp of, oh, I only do Pilates, or I only do this type of exercise, or, we want to make sure that we are choosing the best thing for that person at the time. And like Chrissy was saying, how we see these people over long periods of time, I think it's really important that we adapt and change their programs for the changing body.
I love that.
The body over decades is going to change and need different things. Maybe there's a different condition or a different injury that we need to be aware of, or maybe they have a different goal. Maybe they take up pickleball and you need to adapt their program to change it. So just keeping that open mind to making sure that their program is always to their goals, because like she said, I've had people that I've been working with for years. Things get stale. You don't want to always be doing the same thing. So just making sure that we're always changing things up.
Fantastic. Okay. Rapid fire questions. Ready? What is your definition of Pilates?
My definition of Pilates is, and I always say, Pilates is when I tell you to hold one thing still and move something else. And as soon as you get that, I reverse it. So that's how we explain Pilates. And I have went through many ways of explaining Pilates. Do you remember when people couldn't even say the word? It was like pilots.
Yeah.
And
I hear this pilot stuff gives you flat out.
And we would struggle
I
on the
remember
phone,
those days.
and we would say, well, it's yoga with resistance.
Yep,
It's yoga on machines.
Yep.
And then, somewhere I settled into this, and it's like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So you're in agreement?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a common definition in your space?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite piece of Pilates equipment? It could be big or small.
Coraline.
Clinical reformer.
I know Coraline's not classical Pilates, but I love it.
Okay,
and
why? Say more.
We go through phases.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the chair, sometimes it's the reformer, but the Coraline, I love that it's functional movement.
Yeah.
So it really kind of is that bridge between Pilates and function to me.
Fantastic.
I love the clinical reformer because of everything it does now. Like Kenny has made it do everything. I can move the footbar. I can adjust it in any way. I have light spring. I have heavy spring. I have boxes and platforms. And it's just, when I travel and I have to teach, first, if I don't have equipment, I'm struggling. I love the mat, but the equipment makes it for me.
Yeah.
And if I don't have balanced body equipment, I'm literally crying in the corner. because I'm missing my yellow spring.
We didn't even pay for that endorsement.
Sorry, but I just really, I'm like,
I'm missing my yellow spring.
I'm missing my yellow spring.
What do you travel with? A yellow spring. What's one misunderstanding about either Pilates or your profession? And let's actually hone in on the wellness profession that you wish more people understood.
Do you want to go first, or should I?
You go first.
So Cassie and I had a little discussion about this one, and we really feel like one of the misunderstandings is that people think that when they have pain, like, or discomfort during something, that they should stop everything altogether. And they stop their movement, and then they get worse. So, a client will come in and I tweaked my knee. My knee was sore after that exercise, and then they don't come back. Yeah. And the best thing they could do is come back and move. And that's a misunderstanding that your exercise actually caused this discomfort. And they don't understand that sometimes discomfort is the correction happening, the strengthening happening, the stretching happening.
And you can't always tie your pain to a specific time and place that it happened. Sometimes things just occur. Sometimes we have.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
Yeah, sometimes you can have swelling from things you ate. You can have arthritis that flares with the weather. There's so many things that you can't blame your exercise. And if you don't do your exercise, I can guarantee you're going to get worse.
And it is very traditional that, you would get an injury and you would just completely stop moving. And now, actually, the research says you should keep going. But
that research is still relatively new, and there are many. The mindset of old was to stop. That the pain was saying to you, "Don't." But actually, so much of research is saying, "No, engage."
Yeah, not that you're going to go running on a sprained ankle, but you're not going to not walk.
That's right. Yes.
Sure.
I love that. That's great. What's one habit that you do for yourself that complements your Pilates practice?
Bouncing on the trampoline.
You guys were the ones who got me on the trampoline, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me more about the trampoline.
I love the benefits for the lymphatic system. Actually, when I get on there, my nose starts running, and I love it. I also love it for my balance, and then working on type 2 muscle fibers, power, strength. Yeah. And it's just fun. It makes everyone smile when I put them on there. I keep mine in the living room, and I do it daily.
I remember being at your space, and that was the first time I was like, "Oh, the trampoline." I'm going to talk to you both about that when we're done.
Yeah, and I agree on the trampoline, but I also ride a horse.
You do?
Yes, I have a horse.
I remember that about yes.
Definitely the horse riding has a lot of Pilates in it too, and a lot of sort of that instructional feeling, but now you're not doing it just to do the right position. You're doing it to not fly off the horse. So it's a little bit more intuitive, I guess.
She has a hobby now, which is great.
Yeah. How often do you get to ride?
I ride probably 2-3 times a week because, I have my own horse, so I have to keep her exercise. Yeah. Now I just got a camper, and we'll be camping together.
Oh, fantastic. That is fantastic.
Yeah. And a new truck.
Well, you need something to pull the camper. Yeah. I like this. I like this you. Yeah.
It's great.
I now have help, so I can do that. When I first told my husband I was going to get a horse, because, it's not a cheap thing, he took it so well. And I think it was like he was thinking, she finally has a hobby.
Yes. That's not just Pilates.
That's not just Pilates or you guys. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. 1 to 3 books or podcasts recommendations for listeners.
I would definitely say Caged Lion. If you are a Pilates professional and you have not read that book, I do think it's very important, because I just read it in the past few years. And it really made me think about everything that we're doing in a good way.
Yeah. And we like Nora's podcast.
Moving Conversations.
We
would definitely
recommend that as well.
Yeah. Nora and Brian Ritchie. Yeah.
It's great.
Any research?
I definitely think always just searching in the realm of what specific populations you're working with. Have access potentially to a database, have a relationship with a library that you can search what's up to date and what's coming out.
it's hard, I think, when you maybe aren't in that situation where you're in education and finding research like that. So sometimes you have to have a resource of where you can
Yeah.
read research. So sometimes stepping down to a textbook can be helpful to someone who doesn't know quite how to digest the research.
Yeah.
So I know that Shirley Sarman is not producing a lot anymore, but she does have 2 textbooks that they're not super old, and they do break down some of that research to a little bit of a better level. So you might want to think, if you're not a person that really knows how to read that research and make sense of it, if you can find a trustworthy textbook that you
Good
could,
recommendation.
either an exercise science textbook, you want to get something that's less than 10 years old, because once you get to that 10-year mark on the research, there's too much change.
Yeah.
5 years would be better.
Yeah.
But sometimes textbooks, they by the time they come out and they get published. So I would stick to the exercise science types of textbooks and the physical therapy types of textbooks, because they do match very well with what we do.
That's great
The
advice.
textbook might be good.
All right. I actually have one of my own questions for you guys because you have inspired me. So, Cassy, what inspires you?
Movement. If we were to put it very simply. I've always been a mover from a young age. I did ballet, started at age 3. So that was first my love of movement. But then I think what's really cool is I always had this appreciation for art as well. Like that art and science combination, I think really was with ballet, was with Pilates, was with physical therapy, and then all those backgrounds blended.
Right. I love
my
that.
movement.
I love that. The art and the science, right? That's great. Yeah. That's great.
I'll kind of take it in a little bit of a different direction. I would say what inspires me is I very much want to make a mark. I want to make a change. My mother was very much that way. And she just passed away, so it's kind of fresh, but she was entrepreneurial. She had her own business. She had her own invention, and I watched her make her mark. And I wanted to change things. I want things to grow and be better, and I want to make that mark. So I think that inspires me to keep going. I want to change that client. I want to change their life from the level of the client all the way to the level of the Pilates teacher or the industry in itself. Like, that's why I was involved with the NCPT, like, because I want us to get to that level. I don't want us to stagnate. I want us to grow. And so part of my inspiration or my goal is make change, make a path.
So I'm just going to say this. I hope you can sit where you're sitting right now and know that you have done that already. that your contributions have been huge.
I feel good about what's happened. Yes,
yeah.
I do feel really good
and
about that.
And you're
someone will carry it on.
And someone is going to carry it on, and there's more work to be done.
Yeah.
And someone is going to carry it on. I think that's really just super exciting.
No,
super exciting. This has been a fantastic conversation. I just really want to thank both of you for joining us here on Pilates Perspectives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.